Hi everyone, this is a beautiful day in Beaune and I'm happy to talk about 2018 vintage that we recently finished bottling. But just to say a few words about the vintage itself and the growing season. So it started in 2018 in the winter after of 2017, because of course the vines already are in dormancy, but things happened. We had a very dry and warm summer of 2017, and then the winter is fairly mild. Then come the beginning of 2018, and the weather is fairly cold. Not really cold, we didn't get major frost, but it was cold enough. So bud break occurred in early of April. What happened soon after that is the weather turned incredibly beautiful and warm very quickly. So suddenly the vines have a lot of heat and water because we did get some rain during the winter, and the growth explodes. So we have these vines growing like crazy, which was beautiful to watch, I have to say. And then the first flower, if I remember well, the first bloom happened on May 19th. So what this tells us is May 19th, we know we are heading to an early harvest, because when we have bloom, we know 100 days later, more or less a couple of days, we will be picking. So May 19th gives us end of August, August 29-30. And indeed, we did start picking late August. But let's go back to what happened between the harvest and May. We enter a very warm summer. We had some storms, but we had no major events like frost in April or hail that sadly we had a couple of years ago, many years in a row. So overall, 2018 has been an easy growing season. Not too much stress for my brother Philippe, who is in charge of the viticulture. There was no pressure with disease. There was no pressure with mildew, with oidium. Of course, you had to protect the vines. And as probably a lot of you know, we are in biodynamically farming, so it's always a bit more stressful. But the overall growing season was great. Now on the yield, the crop level, 2018 we hear is a very good and generous vintage. It is, but not everywhere. So it's important to know 17 was very generous all over Chablis to the Mâconnais. In 2018, if we go region by region, Chablis, very nice crop. Overall, nothing to complain. If we come to the Côte d'Or, the Côte de Beaune is pretty good, and I would say a normal crop. The Côte de Nuit, however, we have a lot of variation vines, vineyard to vineyards. And sadly for us, a lot of the Grand Cru did not yield that good. I mean, it was an okay crop, but not that big of a crop. If we go a little bit more south, the Côte Chalonnaise was very similar to the Côte de Beaune. We had a very normal, nice growing season. And then if we come to the Mâconnais, there was a very generous crop. So from Chablis to the Mâconnais, overall very good weather, great growing season, and then the yield depends really vineyard to vineyard. We start picking late August with Corton Charlemagne. So we start in the Côte de Beaune. The Corton Charlemagne was ready. It's a small parcel that we owned in the Climat of Les Languettes. And of course, as you would guess, the decision of picking is not only based on the numbers we get, but it's also on tasting the fruit and walking the vineyards, which we need to do every day, in the vineyards every day. So Corton Charlemagne is the first. The Côte de Beaune was picked within a week. So very, very short picking time, because everything got right because of the heat we got during the summer. So the summer, we got some really heat spikes. The very good news was we also got cool nights, and that is very crucial in a warm vintage. 2018 belongs in the category of the warm years, like 2012, like 2009, and more lately 2016 or even 17. So we are not in a cold vintage, we are in an early and warm year. But if you go from the north to south, there's nothing to leave behind in 2018. It has been outstanding and very pleasant vintage to make and to see the wines age. So a small word about how we handle the whites and the reds. Due to the beautiful ripeness of the fruit for the red wines, we thought this was the year we could play again, because we always play a little bit with the whole cluster, but we could play with the whole cluster because 2018 we had such a lovely phenolic ripeness that it was very tempting to play with that. We like it usually to the Grand Cru, but that we went even to our Premier Cru and some village wine, playing with the whole cluster. So the grapes arrive, we look at them, and then we decide on the sorting table, we do the positive sorting, which is not throwing away grapes that we find that are not good. There was almost none in 2018, but skipping the ones that we find should be included to the fermenters. So for the reds, there was a lot of playing with the whole clusters, and I think successfully. For the white, there was something that also was super interesting. It was the quality of the juice. We picked very beautiful fruits, we press them, and then we have this juice in the tank, and then overnight it settles down, and you have the lees at the bottom. And then the next day you decide to do the racking and how much lees you will keep and you will not keep. So in a year where you have some botrytis or mildew or oidium, you're very careful with the lees because that's where most of those things will concentrate. But in 2018, it was such a lovely juice. We decided to do a very, very light débourbage. So we included a lot of the fine lees to the juice that afterwards went either to tanks for Chablis wines or the Mâconnais wines, or wines from the Côte Chalonnaise, like Ruilly would do half and half, barrels and tanks. And we played with those lees, and I think it did contribute to help us keep a great freshness in the wines, all the line from the Mâconnais to Chablis, including the Côte d'Or. Playing with those lees, doing very little bâtonnage. It was not necessary. The fermentation was very slow, so we didn't have to stir the lees to bring volume. So I just wanted to say a few words about this little thing that happened in 2018 that we felt was interesting to work with.